Hello everybody and welcome to the show for this week. First we're going to go through the round of AFL. First game that we're going to talk about is Richmond versus Collingwood. Now Richmond have come under pressure this week in the press because of their loss last week to the Western Bulldogs. Richmond come up against their bogey side Collingwood, who also came off a loss last week. Damien Hardwick is under pressure because due to the forward line pressure, we're not allowing on Jack Weaver in the first half, brings speculation about Damien Hardwick's future. Next game, Carlton Melbourne. Gee, Mick, you come under pressure in the press this week, haven't you? Now, I hope you're wearing your Carlton underpants, Carlton fans, because they are going to knock your underpants off, Melbourne media, if you don't win this week. I tell ya! Port Adelaide, Brisbane. My Port Adelaide boys, after their first loss of the season, up against North Melbourne last week, need to win up against the Brisbane Lions. Brisbane, this week, there's been a lot of pressure on Big Brownie, Jonathan Brown. Jonathan Brown, sorry Brownie, but you're too old. Even though you got a good old croaky voice and good leadership, you should retire immediately. Otherwise you're gonna have to be put on my new segment, which we'll talk about later on. Now, GWS Western Bulldogs. GWS had a win last week over the hatless Melbourne Demons, believe it or not. GWS young kid Josh Kelly won the now rising star during the week, and there was talk today with GWS coach Leon Cameron that GWS could be making finals. Media reporter, are you cocked? Are you actually cocked? GWS have come far, but they're not going to make the finals. You're getting too carried away. Oh, for God's sake, media. Geelong West Coast. Geelong at Guild Stadium will be hard to beat this week because of their fortress record. Geelong got the job done up against Collingwood last week, but I'm still not sure whether they're a top 4 side yet. Hawthorn, Gold Coast Suns, versus Hawthorn. Gold Coast Suns also got a win last week over the Brisbane Lions in the Q Clash. In the Q Clash, they got over a couple of suspensions. Brisbane, Gold Coast will become a tough team to beat this year at Metricon Stadium. Hawthorn, they were brilliant last week. They played a first half of perfect footy according to coaches around the league. Jordan Lewis said yesterday on AFL 360 that it wasn't perfect because they try and be negative, these coaches, particularly Clarko. Only joking, Clarko. Sydney versus North Melbourne. Sydney have their first game up against North Melbourne at the SCG this week. They had a good win last week over the Adelaide Crows because they played well last week. They gave you the best of. They gave Buddy Franklin, their multi-million-dollar deal star, an opportunity to shine. In my opinion, it was a good win. The reason why Sydney won last week is that the pressure came off them a bit because they were out of Sydney, out of the spotlight a little bit, onto a town that's not expecting them to win. Adelaide, St Kilda versus Adelaide. St Kilda got a win over lost last week, believe it or not, to the West Coast Eagles. The West Coast Eagles were a good side last week, but Alan Winterson knows the coast very well, and I hope the Saints smash the Crows, but I tipped Adelaide. Now, the final game of the week is Freo versus Essendon. Freo are on a ton of injuries at the moment. Freo are struggling at the moment with injuries, suspensions, and all that sort of stuff. Injuries like Sun, Michael Walters. Michael Walters had an injury that he had stayed last week up against Hawthorn. Essendon, now to the Essendon Football Club. Essendon got a brilliant win last week, but they have an awful record interstate. So I think the Bombers will win. As well, now to other news. A-League. Let's have a preview to the A-League now. The round starts with Adelaide United playing the Newcastle Jets at Hunter Stadium in Newcastle. Now, 4 or 5 A-League clubs are vying for that second spot so they can get, the week off. Adelaide United are a good side, but I don't think they've been good enough this season to make the top 2. I think the Wanderers will make the top 2, and that's that. They've had a great season, but in my opinion, we don't deserve to finish in the top 2. And then Melbourne Victory versus the Wellington Phoenix in Wellington. The Wellington Phoenix want to stop people from getting the wooden spoon. Want to stop their team getting the wooden spoon over Melbourne Victory. Wellington, in my opinion, have not been good enough this season under Ernie Merrick. It will take him a while to get his squad together and the players that he wants. Whether Paul Ifill signs next season or not. To Brisbane Central Coast now. Now, Brisbane, as we all know, have been finished top 2, but the Mariners are vying for that top 2 position as well. So Brisbane need to win. The Mariners need to win to get confidence. To the next game now, and you got Sydney FC taking on the Perth Glory. Now, Sydney FC got a good win last week. And if Alessandro Del Piero puts on the sort of performance he did last week, he will get a contract next season. The pitch at Allianz Stadium was absolutely terrible. It was like pigs in mud. And Perth Glory, in my opinion, Perth Glory need to get an Australian manager, and with Graham Arnold leaving Japan, getting removed from his job in Japan this morning, it may be able to get the result for. They may be able to get Arnie in, or they need somebody like Jamie Harmwell. In my opinion, he needs to get into coaching. He's a Perth Glory legend. Then he needs to respond in style. Now, the last game of the A-League this week has been a bit of a tribute to former great Socceroo Harry Kill, who will play his last game for the Melbourne in his career up against his hometown boys, the Western Sydney Wanderers. Harry Kill, I salute you, Harry, for being a great footballer for the Melbourne Heart, but it's disappointing that you couldn't play more games, but I salute you. Congratulations. The Western Sydney Wanderers, if it's still alive of course, needs to battle for that second spot. In my opinion, Tony Popovich's men deserve second spot because they have been the joint leaders of the competition nearly all season, but just behind Brisbane Roar. Now to cricket now, and the ladies cricket team, the Southern Stars, won their third T20 final in a row. It's been a wonderful achievement for our Aussie girls, and in my opinion, it should have been front page news. We are the first Australian team to win back-to-back titles in any sport here in Australia, to the Brisbane Lions in the early noughties. So congratulations to them. Now the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time for our new segment, Sacked. Okay. Managers who I think should be sacked, or players who should be sacked. First of all, we'll start with Port Adelaide forward Mark Butcher. Butch, you've been a great player, but you're too tall. You're way too tall. And your goal kicking is disgraceful, Butch. And you cost us a goal in the third quarter. And your goal kicking is crap. You'll be sacked in the morning. And now, who else? Oh, of course, Damien Hardwick. You're messing around with the forward line too much. You were awful in that first quarter against for Bully. She hardly kicked to Jack Riewoldt in that first quarter. You need to get sense into these players. When Jack Riewoldt won the goal in Danny Hardwick's second year at the club, he said that they wanted to kick to Jack Riewoldt less. That does not mean, Daniel, that you should not kick to Jack Riewoldt at all. Tyrone's crap. He doesn't tackle. He doesn't put in enough effort. And you go with the last. What the hell, Daniel? You should be sad in the morning. Sad in the morning. Then we end to the show. And you look out, managers. You're gone. Bye.